Now you need a clean surface to install the mat. Make sure there are no objects on the floor or fasteners penetrating the floor that might damage the blue heating wire. Carefully sweep the floor, or better yet, use an industrial vacuum and clean the floor thoroughly. Then, damp mop the surface to remove as much dust and debris as possible. Roll out the SunTouch mat to make sure it will fit the area you want to warm. Make sure the power lead factory connection is located directly below the electrical junction in an area that will be covered with thinset. Some people keep the mat several inches away from walls to protect it from trim fasteners later on. Where that's not an issue, you can place the mat tight against the curb or wall. At vanities, kick spaces, and toilets, install the mat directly below where you will be standing, so your feet can be warmed directly. Place the mat 4 to 6 inches from toilet drains, because the heat could soften the wax ring. Note that the blue wire is attached to the top side of the mat with orange captures. When you have a choice, turn the mat over with the wire on the downside so it's less likely to be snagged with a trowel. You may want to shape your mat on the job site to be sure it fits your space exactly. Use scissors to carefully cut the woven mesh between the blue heating elements so the pieces lay flat. You can use one or several of these techniques to make your layout easier. The 180-degree or back-to-back turn lets you go in the opposite direction. The rollover helps you work around obstacles. The 90-degree or flip turn helps you make right or left turns. The fan turn lets you change direction in a circular space. And finally, when you need to add warmth to an irregular space, estimate the amount of loose wire you'll need and then carefully cut the orange captures that hold the wire to one side of the mat. Pull the blue wires loose from the mat. Adjust your mat to take up the slack and then use your hot glue gun to secure the blue wire to the backer board. As a rule of thumb, heat will travel 1.5 to 2 inches from the heating element through a tile floor. So, don't install the heating elements closer than 2 inches apart. 2 3/4 inch spacing is ideal. If your mat is some distance from your control location, try this shortcut. Carefully cut the orange captures that hold the blue wire to the mat. Move your mat back into position and then glue the blue wire on the backer board. This will help reduce the amount of power lead you will have to embed. Remember that the blue heating wire is one continuous circuit and you must never cut it for any reason. It's all right there in your manual. When you're ready to secure the mat, one method is to roll out double-sided tape from one edge of the mat to the other. Press firmly on the white side of the tape to make sure it sticks. Then pull off the white backing and firmly press the mat onto the tape. Measure down 18 to 24 inches and put down another line of tape as you did before. You can also use an air-powered finish stapler if you're working over plywood or backer board. This makes your work go quickly, but be careful not to staple close to the blue wire. Be generous with the staples and always wear your safety glasses. You may find that a heavy-duty hand-powered stapler also works very well on your subfloor. Note that some electric staplers are underpowered for cement-based backer board. So, if you use one, be ready to follow behind with a hammer. In every case, be careful and do not staple over or near the blue heating wire. When the mat is secured, go back over and find any loose ends or wire and hold them down with double-sided tape, or use a hot glue gun. Next, use a pencil to mark where the power leads will lay along the floor to the wall. Chisel a groove in the floor so the power lead and black factory connections don't create a high spot. Clean your work area. Perform another resistance check with your digital ohm meter. Check white to black and then black to green and finally white to green. Record these values in your mat resistance log. Locate the sensor you've already tested and glue it from the control location to the mat. Weave the sensor through the mat 6 to 12 inches into the heated floor and locate it halfway between two of the blue heating wires. Don't let the sensor wire or blue heating wires touch or cross each other. Feed your fish tape from the top hole to the bottom hole. Retrieve the end and wrap both the power lead and sensor wires together. Pull them both through the wall and out the top hole. This is a lot easier if you pull wire before you install your electrical box. Secure the power leads and sensor wires in place on the floor with hot glue. Draw a line around the nail plate and then remove a layer of paper and drywall. Tap the nail plate in place and then secure it into the wall plate with 2 screws. Push the power leads, sensor wires, and power supply wires through the back of the electrical box and secure it in place in the wall. Cap the ends of your supply wires with wire nuts, but don't make any other connection at this time. Take several pictures of your installation and keep these handy for future reference. Let's review. Our mat is secure and the wire is on the bottom of the mat. We have our preferred spacing along the walls. The sensor and blue heating wires don't cross. The sensor is in place 6 to 12 inches into the mat. The power lead connection is located in an area that will be covered with thinset, and it has been lowered into the backer board and held with glue. The nail plate protects the wires against trim fasteners, and finally, we've done another resistance check with our digital ohm meter. Now we're ready to embed the SunTouch mat in the floor. In this case, we'll use the one-step method. Remember that you'll need as much as 50% more thinset for a radiant floor than a cold floor, so plan accordingly. Because we'll be using 1-foot square tiles, we'll need a 3/8-inch square notch trowel to apply thinset. Mix up latex modified thinset mortar. Apply it to the surface, and then use the flat side of your trowel to work the mortar into the mat. Then reverse the trowel to comb the thinset to a 1/4 inch minimum uniform depth above the subfloor. Comb the thinset in straight lines, and then apply a covering of tile or stone or other hard surface. Make sure the tile is well bonded to the mortar below. Be careful not to snag or cut the blue heating wire with your trowel. Don't clean your trowel by banging the sharp edge on the blue wire or the power lead. Periodically check the resistance value of your white and black wires with your ohm meter. If your readings indicate the wrong resistance value, try to find where the wire might be damaged. Then, clean away the mortar on both sides of the cut. Call toll-free 888-432-8932 before you do anything else.